Welcome to Mod My Nissan 350Z, presented by Continental Tire, where today we put the new ExtremeContact Force to the test. If you watched the previous episode, you know that we've rebuilt this as a grip car and we've equipped it with two sets of wheels and tires. Right now it is on its competition set. Those are Koenig hexaforms and an 18 by 10.5 wrapped in Continental's ExtremeContact Force tire. That's their latest and greatest track tire. It's 200 tread wear and it is very fast, and they've also built it to last a long time, so it's very suitable for like endurance type of racing, but it'll be great for time attack, for autocross, or any type of performance driving you really have in mind for it. And we're going to test it against our street set of wheels and tires, which are equipped with Continental's ExtremeContact Sport tire. That is our favorite summer tire. It's a 340 treadwear tire that works extremely well in all environments, really. It's amazing in the rain, it's great in the dry, and it will do very well on the racetrack too. So we're really curious to see how those two tires will do in a head-to-head test. But before we do that, we're gonna jump in this car, take it for a few laps, give it a good shakedown, and make sure everything is working properly.
Well, DP, I forgot this was a drift car, and the clutch and flywheel combo on this is a very light one, so the revs are nice.
Yep.
But in stop and go, me driving here, it is finicky.
It's pretty
tricky.
grabby.
You really got to rev it up to make sure that it grabs smoothly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will get a bunch of chatter.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's true. I think it's a spec stage 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
right?
yes. So, man, the brakes, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot how nice this AP Racing big brake kit is. Like,
yes.
It is so good.
And we've got some fresh pads up front, which give it lots of bite.
Yep. The other thing I did notice is the fuel gauge does not work correctly.
Yeah.
It just sits at half. We topped it up yesterday.
Bizarre.
And it's at half, so driving around, we're going to have to figure that out. 2 of the 4 speakers work as well, so
okay.
we have
So
we
it's
have
still stereo, but it's not real.
Yes. So there's a bunch of small little knickknacks that we're gonna have to fix on this car. Even though this is a track car, we're gonna try to fix as much as we can to make sure that it's a good one for anybody that wins it. And so far, this car seems to be running really well. We don't have rubbing. We were a little worried that we'd have an issue with rubbing, but
with 275.
with these big 275s on here,
but
anything. It's working really well.
It's almost like whoever did the alignment on this car is a genius.
DP, I'll give it credit. This steering wheel is spot on straight, man.
Come on.
So, all right, man. Well, enough talking. I think we've covered kind of everything off. The car seems to be in one piece. It's driving around, no noises. So maybe it's time to throw on the ExtremeContact Sports. We'll start with those.
Okay. Throw it into turn 1 here and see how it feels. I think probably need to turn the rear dampers up a little bit, but it feels good overall, and we're catching up to these guys who just passed me a moment ago, which is a good sign. It means we're doing something. TMP did do some repaving of some of their corners. I should say the curbs, not the corners, which does allow you to be a little bit more aggressive. You can actually use some of these curbs now, as you can see there. And the nice thing about these Fortune 510 coilovers is they're compliant enough that you can hit these curbs and it won't upset the car too much. And it's also compliant enough to be a very nice road car. So it's a really good dual purpose setup in our experience. Yeah, these Contis are up to temp now. I definitely feel like I've got some good grip happening. balance of this chassis overall is really good. Doesn't feel like it wants to push. It's not trying to go into a drift too much, which it used to do on our old drift alignment, but with the DP Special track alignment, man, it feels good. Passing S2000s and Golf Rs. Life is good at TMP when you're doing that, everybody. Ooh, tire rub there, turn 1 through the bumps. Yeah, we're gonna have to put some more damper in the rear there, PT, because we're getting a little tire rub on the left rear. Yeah, sliding it through turn 6 there, I love it. How good this chassis is, you know? I feel like it's one of those chassis that it's a little underappreciated as a grip car or a time attack car. Obviously the drift guys love these cars, but I feel like they're a super capable track day car, autocross car, time attack car, whatever you want to use it for, and really good value. I mean, these cars are quite affordable, especially with all the COVID pricing going around right now. Man, how much fun is this car, everybody? I've forgotten how much fun it is. It's a hoot to drive. It's set up really well right now. It does have like a hair of understeer, which is good. It's making a ton of grip. I did not expect it to feel as planted as it did. I really couldn't drift it around much. It had so much grip. And these conditions are pretty ideal, by the way. We're in like 18 degrees Celsius or like mid 60s Fahrenheit. So really good conditions for testing. And what I thought was tire rub was not tire rub. The tire is mint. However, our carbon fiber side skirt, not so mint anymore. So with apologies to the giveaway winner, we have modified your car slightly, but we just call this racing pedigree, everyone. This is a sign this car has been used the way it's intended to be used. So we're calling that a win. We're calling that an enhancement to the performance, and we're just clearancing it for you. When you go to the track now, you won't rub anymore. As for the lap time, I did a best of a 1:22.7, which I feel pretty good about. It was a pretty clean lap. I used some curb. I got a little aggressive. Maybe that's why that happened. But in any case, I think that's a good baseline lap time for these tires. So let's swap on those ExtremeContact Force and see how much quicker we go. All right, guys, let's give this one a good attack lap here if I can. And into turn 1, and man, the turn-in response on these tires is phenomenal. And the stiffness of the sidewall actually adds spring rate, so it's helping keep the car off the ground a bit too. You could hear I wasn't really rubbing the side skirt there, which is good news. Good drive out of turn 6 there. Wow, it's got a lot of more grip under brakes too. It can brake deeper. Feels more composed just with a higher grip level and the extra sidewall stiffness. It just feels like it's moving around less, you know? Okay, Bit of a rub there. Sorry, future owner, but these things will happen. Man, the car's just so glued to the ground. I can get on the gas so early. Just starting to explore the limit of this tire. It is good, guys. It is really good. Okay, okay. Yes. Little slide there. That's what I'm talking about. Man, I'm blown away by the grip on the brakes. It's so much better. Wow. Got good feel at the limit too. Like, it's not a noisy tire, but I can feel if I'm losing traction a little bit across the front axle or the rear. Driving a car with more grip is physical, and I am not in tip-top shape as far as being a racing driver goes. It's been a slow year, as you guys know, but man, the grip level out of these ExtremeContact Forces is very, very impressive. You immediately feel the sharper turn-in response from what I assume is a stiffer sidewall. And then at the apex, you definitely feel like the grip level is significantly higher. So like each of those 3 hot laps, I was just rolling a little bit more speed in till the point where I was starting to slide the car around, and you could feel at times where the front would start to slide first. At other times, if I chucked it in more aggressively, the back end would step out. So the balance of the car was pretty good. I feel like we could make it a little better, but all in all, I'm really pleased with how much grip these tires make, and I'm pleased with what I saw in the lap timer too. We did a best of a 1:20.4, which is 2.3 seconds quicker than I went on those ExtremeContact Sport ultra high performance summer tires. So that is a pretty big gap. That's actually a bigger gap than I expected. I thought we might be a second to a second and a half quicker, but to see a 2.3 second gap, it shows me that there is a lot of performance in this tire. And really, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg with these. You know, if we went out for another session and dialed it in a bit more, dialed myself in a bit more, I think we could go a second quicker on these, and I think we could go a second quicker on the other ones too. So I feel like that gap is going to stay about the same. So that kind of gives you a feel for the performance differential between the two of them. The one thing I will say is that because it is a stiffer sidewall, it isn't going to be as comfortable on the street as those ExtremeContact Sports are. And I'm still really, really impressed by how that compound works on the racetrack. It's a super friendly tire on the track. It's really playful. You can slide the car around and it never tries to bite you. So it builds grip quite gradually so you can feel what it's doing. And then when you overdrive it, it loses grip gradually too. So it never wants to snap. This tire feels more like a racing tire. Feels like there's some Hoosier DNA in there because yes, it builds grip really quickly, but when you get to that peak, it drops off more quickly. So when you overdrive the tire, it sort of falls off more for grip. The car really slows down more, so you'll lose a lot of momentum. So you have to like sneak up to the limit on these to go fast, where with the other tires, you can be much more of a hoon and slide it around more without it costing you a lot of speed. So, and obviously those would be better in the rain than these, though I expect these Contact Forces also to be very good in the rain. Continental's always a class leader in that. So for an endurance racing tire that needs to go fast in the dry and in the wet, these are probably the hot ticket, guys. I mean, I'm really excited to see what the endurance racing guys do on these tires next year. Thought we'd do a quick check-in on tire wear here, since one of the big selling features of the Continental ExtremeContact Force tires that it's marketed as being very, very durable and thus suitable for endurance type racing. And you can see here some interesting differences between how the Continental ExtremeContact Sport, the street tire, did compared to the competition tire. If you look closely, we've got these 2 center ribs on the ExtremeContact Sport, and the outer shoulder of those ribs did get chewed up a bit from the track. And that's because these ribs are fairly narrow, they're going to be vibrating and getting hot, and they're not supported by other rubber sections being up against it, so they're going to be prone to this kind of wear. But you can see it on the outer shoulder, which is really where a lot of your cornering grip comes from, and turn-in response too. It looks great. I mean, that's a real nice big stable block out here. So if you are going to the track on this kind of tire, you will see this type of wear. It's cosmetic really more than anything else, but it is showing you that this is getting hot and you might start to lose grip as you're heating the tire up. With more sipes and stuff, you're just going to get more movement in the tread blocks, which means more heat. The more you overheat the tire, the more it's going to be prone to this kind of wear, and it's going to lose grip as well. So with the Continental Contact Sport, with these bigger shoulder blocks, they're much more stable, so they're going to build heat more gradually. They're going to be less prone to overheating. And you can see with this big center rib here, it's wider, it's got like chamfered shoulders on it, so it's more stable, and you're not going to get this kind of like tearing wear on the edges of it. So certainly been engineered and designed for track use. It's quite clear that that's the case. I will say that there are some differences in the way they feel. This tire isn't that communicative, which is typical of a racing tire, especially high grip ones. They don't tend to make a lot of noise as you approach the limit of grip. So you don't get a lot of feedback, at least not a lot of auditory feedback. So you're really having to discover the limit more by feel than by sound, where with a street tire like these ExtremeContact Sports, they do make noise as you approach the limit, and the pitch of that noise increases. So it kind of gets to be a higher noise as you get close to the limit, and that really gives you that auditory feedback that you might be used to. So this is a really good tire to go to the track with if you're not used to the way a race tire feels. It gives you that feedback, that confidence, like, oh, I can hear I'm getting close to the limit. Those, I think, are the biggest feel differences that I felt between the two of them. Obviously, I mentioned that these have a stiffer sidewall, which is, again, going to be typical of a more track-oriented tire. Nevertheless, these do have a fairly stiff sidewall, and they do give you really good turn-in response, and yet really nice street manners. We haven't driven these on the street yet, but I can tell you with a fair bit of confidence they're going to ride a little harsher on the street because of that stiffer sidewall. So there are some trade-offs involved if you want to go this fast. But man, if you want to go fast, these ExtremeContact Forces are very, very impressive. I should also mention that those 275 3518s were, I think, a perfect fit on this car. What I thought was tire rub at the beginning was not tire rub, as we've explained already. So I think a 275 square setup fits remarkably well on this chassis, and it works really well. Like, the balance is spot on. And at this power level, we're basically like a stock motor with a few bolt-ons. Like I mentioned earlier, we think around 250 or 260 at the wheel. It feels great on a 275, whether it's that 200 tread wear Contact Force or the 340 Contact Sport. Both suit the car really, really well. And the rest of the package is really very simple, but very effective. Like, big brakes up front, those APs are phenomenal. I mean, at a track like this, which really puts a premium on braking, those APs are worth their weight in gold. And I will say one more thing about the tires. ExtremeContact Force were way better on the brakes. Tons of grip under the brakes, again, because you've just got more contact patch on the ground with less siping and so on. Fortune 500s, I think, worked very, very well. I do have the dampers turned up about 3/4 to full stiff just to control body motion a bit better and keep some of the body cladding off the ground. And really, I mean, the aero, this isn't really an aero track. So to me, the aero is more about the look than it is the performance. The 4-point harness works really well. It held me in the seats, and I really like the OE seats. You know, being non-leather, being a fabric seat, you're not sliding around. 4-point locks you in nicely. That Momo steering wheel is the right size. Like, you're in a good seating position overall. So honestly, there's not a lot I would change on this car if I wanted just a fun, reliable track day car that I could drive comfortably on the street too. And these Fortune coilovers being comfortable on the street, you know, this Borla exhaust not being loud, that K&N intake not making obnoxious noises either. It's really a very civilized street car. You know, the wing and stuff will draw a bit of attention on the street, but you're going to be very comfortable. You're going to listen to your podcasts in there and have like no problems hearing it. So I think as an all-around like dual purpose street track car, this is a very compelling package, which leads me to my next point, everybody. If you want this very compelling package, you need to head over to powerjdm.com and buy some stuff. Maybe buy some of our merch. They're making some unique merch for this giveaway that will have a variety of our logos and styles that they're designing for us and will be delivering to you. But they also sell a ton of performance parts, many of which they source from Turn 14 Distribution, which is a very good thing in our worldview, because obviously we work a lot with those guys. And if you sign up for their email list, you will double your entries. So for every $1 you spend on their website, you get an entry into the giveaway. And if you submit your email, you'll get 2 entries for every $1 you spend. The math's pretty simple on that one. I could even do it too. So jump on over there. They sell a ton of the best performance parts money can buy. They'll have Speed Academy merch there for you. Link in the description below will take you to that email sign up. And the last thing I should say is, this is the last episode in the build series, but we are going to do one more episode near the end of this 60-day giveaway period to update you on all the little fixes that we want to do to the car. Maybe put some speakers in it that work a little better, that kind of stuff. So we'll do some attention to detail work and do a final reveal, and maybe make one last pitch to go and buy some Speed Academy merch or some hard parts and see if you can win this thing and make it your perfect dual purpose street and track car. Losing speed there by getting a little too aggressive with my
entry speed, but